Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this. Virgil van Dijk sidesteps Alexander Isak conversation and sends Liverpool message, "Not now." It was the exchange that set tongues wagging among Liverpool supporters. But 6 months down the line, Virgil van Dijk still won't be drawn on what exactly was said to Alexander Isak after the League Cup final defeat to Newcastle United at Wembley. "I'm not telling you," he laughed. "Maybe in 2 years' time or 3 years' time I will tell you. But not now." I can't remember. That Isak subsequently made a British record. $125 million moved to Anfield on deadline day earlier this month has further fueled speculation over the brief conversation. The Sweden international wasn't risked for Liverpool's 1-0 Premier League win at Burnley on Sunday due to a lack of game minutes. With a cameo from the bench for his country last Monday, his only action since May, Isak was banished from the Newcastle first-team squad during the summer and is playing catch-up with his fitness, having missed out on a proper preseason program, but could feature in the Reds' Champions League opener at home to Atletico Madrid on Wednesday, and Van Dijk is delighted. The issues prompted by Isak's move to the Champions are now in the past. "I know it was a very difficult time," said the 34-year-old. "When negotiations always drag on, it's never easy. So many things are going on behind the scenes. Not only me, but the whole team and everyone connected to the club was very pleased that the deal got done. Now he's here. He's a part of the family, and it is time for him to be as fit as he can as quickly as possible, and be important for us with goals, with assists, with link-up play, and with what Hugo Ekitike has already been showing and doing, pushing each other and bringing us to the next level." With Isak absent, Liverpool struggled to break down a resolute Burnley rearguard and were reliant on a Mohamed Salah penalty 5 minutes into injury time to maintain the 100% start to their title defense. All 4 Reds' victories this season have come via late winners, and Van Dijk believes that is testament to the insistence of Arne Slot's side to keep knocking on the door and not become disillusioned. "We kept trying," said the Holland international. "We played against a team that had a very low block, so it was always going to be difficult. It could easily have been a draw because of the way they defended. It's frustrating when you play against that sort of style, but you have to give them credit for it because they did it pretty well. In the end, we got the penalty that we deserved basically because we kept pushing. The body language was good. We kept pushing each other, stayed positive, and didn't get frustrated. We did everything we could, and obviously we found a way with the penalty." Slot spoke after the game of his gamble in throwing on so many attacking players during the closing stages, with substitute Jeremy Frimpong having won the decisive spot kick when his cross was handled by Hannibal Mabry. With Frimpong having been joined from the bench by Rio Nungumoha and earlier Federico Chiesa, Liverpool finished with 7 attack-minded players on the pitch, and Van Dijk partnered at centre-back by midfielder Ryan Gravenberch. And the Liverpool skipper said, "The manager knows what he is doing, and he has full trust in me and the others at the back. At the end of the day, I always say that we defend together and we attack together. We have to make sure we are well organized and make sure we don't concede counterattacks, which is what they tried to do as well. I think we did that pretty well. 2 clean sheets on the bounce, and we have to keep going and keep improving." Liverpool face new Mark Guehi transfer hurdle after ridiculous Arne Slot admission. Manchester City are poised to challenge Liverpool in the race to sign Mark Guehi on a free transfer next summer, potentially sparking a massive transfer tug-of-war between 2 of the Premier League's top clubs for the England defender. Guehi, 25, was on the brink of a 35-meter deadline day switch to Liverpool, but the deal fell through at the 11th hour when Crystal Palace changed their mind on the switch. This has opened the door for other clubs as Guehi will become a free agent when his contract runs out next summer. The situation has caught the attention of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, and Juventus, as Europe's elite clubs are all prepared to swoop in for the Palace skipper. However, there is also a strong pull to remain in the Premier League as Liverpool plan to renew their interest next summer, believing they have a significant edge in the race to secure Guehi's services. Now, they must contend with serious interest from City, As Pep Guardiola's side are huge fans of the stylish center-back, reports The Mirror. It was evident to all clubs during the last window that Guehi had set his sights on either joining Liverpool or seeing out his contract and moving on a free next summer. As such, City were not contenders in the last window and did not compete with Liverpool's interest. However, this is likely to change next summer. There is also no possibility of Guehi making a move in January, as he has reaffirmed his commitment to Palace for this season, and the fans have shown him immense support due to the way he handled himself throughout the transfer saga. Slot spoke out on the failed move last week. He told reporters, "I think it would be ridiculous if I'm going to deny we were close to signing him. That is so out in the open that would be ridiculous. These things happen in football. It happened to our players maybe in the past as well, that they thought they were so close to signing somewhere else, and then in the last moment, things change. This can happen. For me, we would like to sign him, of course, because we were in for him. Like I have said many times, if we feel we can strengthen the team with a chance in the market, we never hesitated to do so, and that's what we tried to do." Guehi's potential availability on a free transfer has sparked a scramble among clubs. Given the rarity of such a high-quality player being available without a transfer fee, Chelsea have been linked with Guehi due to Enzo Maresca's admiration for him. But it seems unlikely he would return to his former club where he rose through the academy ranks. However, there is significant interest from overseas. Real Madrid, who like to spend big in attacking areas and eye-cheaper deals for defenders, like the move that took Trent Alexander-Arnold to the Spanish capital from Anfield, are reportedly interested. Barcelona are also said to be keen on Guehi, who holds an Ivorian passport, making him an EU player in Spain and thus an even more attractive prospect for the La Liga heavyweights Bayern Munich, having successfully signed Harry Kane, are also believed to be interested in securing Guehi for free. Foreign clubs can begin negotiations with Guehi from January and secure a pre-contract agreement, potentially giving them an edge over Premier League teams. Exclusive. Liverpool and Man City set for Marc Guehi transfer battle as rival plans emerge. Manchester City are ready to rival Liverpool to sign Marc Guehi as a free agent next summer, and it could develop into a huge transfer tug-of-war between two of the Premier League's biggest clubs for the England defender. Guehi, 25, saw a 35-meter deadline day move to Liverpool collapse at the last minute when Crystal Palace pulled the plug on the deal. It has opened the door for other clubs because Guehi will become a free agent when his contract expires next summer. That has alerted the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, and Juventus as Europe's top clubs are all ready to make a move for the Palace captain. However, there will also be a huge pull to stay in the Premier League, as Liverpool will revisit their interest next summer and will feel they have a big advantage in the race to sign Guehi. And now they have serious interest from City to contend with, as the Manchester Giants are huge admirers of the classy centre-half. It was clear to all clubs in the last window that Guehi had decided his future was either joining Liverpool or to see out his contract and move on a free next summer. Therefore, City were never contenders in the last window and did not rival Liverpool's interest. But that is set to change next summer. There is also no chance of Guehi moving in January, as he has reiterated his commitment to Palace this season, and the fans have been hugely supportive of him because of the way he conducted himself through the transfer saga. But Guehi will be able to command a bigger contract with clubs, scrambling over his signature because it is rare that a player of his quality and age moves on a free transfer. Chelsea have also been linked with Guehi because Enzo Maresca is a big admirer, but it is highly unlikely he would go back to the club where he began his career through the academy ranks. But there is serious interest from abroad. Real Madrid have gained a reputation for spending big on forwards and signing defenders on cheap or free deals, like they did with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Barcelona are also keen, and Guehi also has an Ivorian passport, so he counts as an EU player in Spain, which would make him an even more attractive option for the La Liga giants. Bayern Munich are also interested, having made a hugely successful signing in Harry Kane and would see Guehi as a brilliant deal on a free. Foreign clubs can talk to Guehi from January 1st and get a pre-contract agreement, which could also give them an advantage over Premier League teams. Arne Slot reveals what Milos Kirkez told him after brutal Liverpool substitution. Liverpool boss. Arne Slot says Milos Kirkez told him that he felt a push in the back when he went down far too easily against Burnley and was booked for simulation by the referee. Michael Oliver Kirkez was hooked before the halftime whistle at Turf Moor because he was treading a tightrope following his earlier caution. And when the Hungarian was penalized for a foul on the halfway line, Slot decided he had to bring on the experienced Andy Robertson. I said already to him that it wasn't smart, and he replied to me that he felt some arm in his back, Slot said in his post-match press conference. But let's be clear, it wasn't a penalty. If there was contact, yes or no, I cannot tell you. But it's never smart. It is funny, by the way, that the two dives, if this was a dive, we've made in the year and a few months that I'm here both led to a yellow card. The first led to the suspension of Ryan Gravenberch in the last game of the season and now with Kirkez, so we're not really good at it. I see it happening a lot without referees giving yellows, but the moment we do it, if it was a dive, he told me he felt something but it wasn't a foul, then it's not smart. That's also clear. While Slot wasn't impressed by Kirkez going down too easily, it was the risk of him being sent off that saw him taken off. With Robertson in reserve, it was an obvious move to make. Not only the yellow card, also that afterwards he played the ball. No foul at all, but the referee blew his whistle, Slot said. This happens in football, the reaction of the fans. And I also saw players trying to go to the referee, implying, hey, if you think this is a foul, maybe you should give a yellow for it. It would have been ridiculous, of course, but then it's a risk. The only way we could lose this game is if we went down to 10. With 11 versus 11, we could have drawn it but couldn't have lost it, because they were never over the halfway line, let alone in our 18-yard box. I didn't want to take that risk, which was hard for Milos because normally you don't have to take a player off if he has a yellow, but I felt this was the best choice to make. Arne Slot warned over costly. Mohamed Salah's stance as UK media reacts to Burnley win. Liverpool secured a dramatic late win for the fourth time in 4 Premier League games on Sunday as Mohamed Salah's penalty downed a spirited Burnley side at Turf Moor. Salah made no mistake from the spot after Hannibal Mejbri's mindless handball in stoppage time, as the Reds restored their 3-point lead at the top of the table. Despite maintaining its 100% record, Liverpool was far from its best once again, and there is only so long that the team will be able to rely on late goals to get over the line. Despite scoring the winning goal, Salah's overall display drew questions from some of the journalists in attendance, with the Independent's Pete Hall going as far as saying he could end up costing Liverpool the title if his form doesn't improve. He wrote, "In any other team, Salah's position would be watertight, completely untouchable. But Liverpool have had an all-timer of a transfer window, broke the British record twice to bring in 2 of the best forwards in the world, and leaving Salah in there week in, week out, when he remains this ineffective, could, even if it may seem unlikely at this stage, prove costly come May." Isak's return to full fitness gives Slot one of the most luxurious of dilemmas in Premier League history. If Salah's form continues at this limp rate, however, the Liverpool boss may in fact have to do the unthinkable for the greater good. The Times' Paul Joyce also addressed Salah's ineffective display, saying it was surprising that he was not substituted as the team searched for a winner. For 94 minutes it had been pertinent to wonder what reason Mohamed Salah had for not showing up at Turf Moor. Alexander Isak, at least, had an excuse. This was a contest in which the Egypt forward had found himself marooned on the periphery, unable to do right for wrong as a couple of crosses that flew straight behind, rather, than to their intended target testified. Salah endured such an afternoon of toil that it was something of a mystery as to why the Liverpool head coach, Arne Slot, had not hauled him off in search of a breakthrough against a superbly organized Burnley, as he had done earlier with Hugo Ekitike and Florian Wirtz. Meanwhile, The Telegraph's Chris Bascom opened his game report with a suggestion after Liverpool scored another late winner. Liverpool have an aura of Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. Maybe we should start talking about Arnie time, he wrote. The closer an opponent gets to denying them victory, the greater the sense of anxiety and inevitability the breakthrough will come. He added, Liverpool march on with Alexander Isak still to be introduced. When they can win like this, it is already looking rather ominous for the rest. The Athletic's Andy Jones gave his take on Florian Wirtz, whose influence grew over the course of the game, despite once again drawing a blank in the goals and assists columns. Liverpool were too slow and predictable in the first half, but in the second half, they began to increase their pace, with Wirtz increasingly prominent, Jones wrote. Wirtz came close to breaking the deadlock when he weaved into the box before firing wide of the post just before the hour mark. He was part of some nice, tight interchanges around the box with his teammates, but often it felt like Liverpool were trying to score the perfect goal, either opting for one pass too many or simply failing to execute the final ball. Wirtz was not helped by Liverpool's front three, all having quiet afternoons. Cody Gakpo and Salah got plenty of the ball in wide areas but were relatively ineffective, while Hugo Ekitike found it tough against Burnley's three center-backs. Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.